So today, the first, I think it might have been yesterday actually, but whatever, the first official picture for the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie was released, showing him not as a Joker, but as Arthur. I'm going to get to his last name later. You guys can probably tell what the last name is based off the thumbnail and the title, and you probably know already what I'm going to be talking about here. But if you haven't, then this will be hopefully a nice surprise for you. I think it looks good. He's not supposed to be the Joker yet. He's not supposed to have all the makeup, the green hair. And what they're going for is a person who's on the brink of madness. He's been, shut into the dirt. He's been thrown away by society so many times that he's on the brink of being broken and just losing it and becoming the maniac that we know as the Joker. And I think they've gone for a good look for that. Kind of like the, not really hobo-y, but, you can kind of see that side of him there, that he's not really taking care of himself all too well, and that he's kind of just let himself go because he really just doesn't care anymore. And I like that look. I think that's a pretty good look. I know a lot of people don't like that he's not the Joker yet, that he doesn't have the white face, the green hair, but I think it makes sense. This is an origin story about the Joker and how he becomes the Joker. I mean, we all know, at least in a general sense, how he becomes a Joker. Falls into a vat of acid and eats chemicals, and that bleaches his skin and makes his hair green. That obviously wasn't the backstory for the Joker in the Christopher Nolan trilogy, because that was actually makeup. It's makeup, but in the actual story, it was makeup. His skin isn't actually white in the Nolan trilogy. But for the most part, in video games and TV shows and the comics, his skin is like that because he fell into a vat of chemicals in Ace Chemicals. And I think we will see that sometime in this movie, but I don't think it's going to be Bruce Wayne that causes it. I think it's going to be Thomas Wayne that causes it, because Thomas Wayne is going to be in this movie. It originally was Alec Baldwin that was going to play Thomas Wayne, and now it's going to be Brett Cullen. So I think there's going to be that connection there to the Waynes. Remember, this is a one-off, truly standalone movie. It's not going to have any sequels. It's not connected to any other movie besides itself. So there really doesn't have to be that connection to the Waynes, that Joker is mad at the Wayne, so maybe that's why he goes after Batman. He figures out that it's Bruce Wayne. It doesn't have to be that kind of connection there, because it's literally a standalone movie. We say the Aquaman standalone, we say Black Panther, we say Iron Man, we say they're all standalone movies, but they're all connected to this bigger universe. And I guess you can technically make a case that the Joker could be connected to the bigger universe in the multiverse sense, but we're not there yet, so I'm not gonna say it's a part of that, although I do believe it is part of a multiverse that they're going to set up for the future. But it's its own movie. It's not going to have any sequels. He only signed on for one movie, so there doesn't really have to be that connection to the Waynes. But I do think if you're going to introduce a character like Thomas Wayne, it's going to have to be something important to the role of the main character. And since this main character is the Joker, I think he will have some part of him turning into the Joker. But the actual question is here, what is up with his name? Now, his first name's Arthur. His last name is Fleck. Fleck. Now, if you write it out in a way where, in some cases in life, you have to write your name like this. First name, you only go by the first letter, and then the full last name. If you go by that, Affleck, like Ben Affleck? This is where it gets into tinfoil hat conspiracy theory territory. I don't think, realistically speaking, there's any connection, but these are writers. These are storytellers. These are people associated with DC. Walter Hamada is overlooking this movie. Walter Hamada also overlooks the DCEU. Now, there hasn't been anything official yet about Ben Affleck either leaving or staying in the DCEU as Batman. There's been a lot of reports for about a year now saying that Ben Affleck is going to end up leaving as Batman in DCEU. I'm pretty sad about that. I don't want him to leave the DCEU, but there's been a lot of reports kind of saying that, and you know, we're all assuming that he is gonna end up leaving the DCEU, which is unfortunate, but it's something that is probably gonna happen. But if we're going into conspiracy theory territory, which we definitely are here, then let's address the obvious. His name's Affleck, all right, and Ben Affleck is Batman. A lot of people want him to stay on as Batman, like myself and a lot of other people. Nothing confirmed one way or the other from Ben Affleck, his sources, or DC about his future involvement with the Batman movies. Joker isn't just a DC movie, it is a Batman property, which means there's a bigger connection there to Batman, which obviously Ben Affleck plays. Right now, we know Ben Affleck is unfortunately back in rehab. But before he went back into rehab, did Ben Affleck and his associates, the people who represent him, did they build a good and strong relationship with Walter Hamada and the new people at DC? The reason why Ben Affleck supposedly left before as Batman is because he didn't like the people and they didn't have a good relationship with the old head, the old people working at DC. But now we know a lot of those people have been fired, and they hired new people, and the most important thing, there is a new head of the DC movies. They have a new person. I don't want to say he's a Kevin Feige, but just to compare the roles, he's basically the Kevin Feige of the DC movies. If he gets as good as Kevin Feige with making these movies, I hope so. I think he can be. There's a lot of potential there. We'll just have to wait and see, but that's besides the point. That's just his role. So if Ben Affleck and his representatives, his associates, built a strong enough relationship with Walter Hamada, is he officially Batman again? And do they not just want to say it because he's in rehab and everything? They don't want all that PR stuff, and they don't even know really what Batman is going to be in the Matt Reeves movie, so is that why they haven't said anything yet? Another thing to think about is Ben Affleck has always been a huge fan of Batman. He said that he only took the Daredevil role, which I thought he was pretty good, to be honest. But he only took the Daredevil role because he never thought he would get Batman. Obviously, he got Batman. The dude has a Batcave. He built a Batcave. I mean, you really can't get any more Batman fan than that. He obviously knows the character of Batman well. He obviously really likes the character of Batman. So would he just leave the Batman character so fast? I know that he wasn't really the Batman that we all know from the comics in Justice League, which is unfortunate, but he has to know that's not his fault. He has to know that that was the old head and old leadership at DC. And now there's a new head. Maybe the new head pitched something to Ben Affleck that was like, yo, we know that the previous incarnations of Batman weren't what you, myself, and the general audience know as Batman from the comics and from the animated series and stuff like that. We know that. We know that you might not have fully liked playing that kind of Batman. We know that you didn't have a great relationship with the old leadership and the person who had this job before I did, but this is our plan for the character. This is who he's going to be. He's going to be more comic accurate. And fans are going to like that. Fans are going to like you as Batman. While I already love him as Batman, I think he's the greatest Batman we have. A lot of other people like him as Batman. I feel like the majority of people who saw BVS may not have liked it, but at least thought he was a decent Batman. You know, not a horrible Batman, but just a decent Batman. And if Walter Hamada and his associates put that statement and said that to Ben Affleck, acknowledging all the mistakes in the past, and telling him the future plan for the DCEU, I actually have a incredibly realistic and amazing theory for the plan of the DCEU that should come out on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. It has a lot to do with Batman, so stay tuned for that. So if Ben Affleck was informed of that, I honestly think he would stay on as Batman because there's just so much potential there for the character. He loves that character. And for him to just leave the role of the character after, 2 movies and 5 minutes of a cameo in Suicide Squad, I think makes no sense. Because he likes the character so much, because he has such a deep connection with the character. And if we're going to get conspiracy theory here, remember, these people, they know, foreshadowing. I know we're getting into a lot of technical stuff, a lot of deep reading, a lot of conspiracy theory. Honestly, that's really what this is. But foreshadowing is a big thing in writing. It's a big thing in movies and stories and books and TV shows. And there really wouldn't be a greater example, in my opinion, of foreshadowing on this level, or hinting, or trolling, whatever you want to call it, at this level, than naming a Batman character Affleck. There really wouldn't be. Now, maybe they did it just to get people talking about this specific topic. Maybe it's just a huge PR stunt to get people talking about this and have this in their head to kind of see what their reaction is. Kind of like what I think about the Henry Cavill situation. I do think he's still Batman. There's a lot of, or Superman. There's a lot of evidence pointing to that. Watch the video right now. The clicker card above to check that out. A lot of evidence pointing to that. But basically, I just think that was a whole huge PR stunt by Henry Cavill and his associates, showing Warner Brothers, look, we got a lot of people supporting us, like all people that are going to get mad if I leave. And I think this is a similar situation where DC, specifically, Walter Hamada, the people who wrote the Joker, maybe Walter Hamada even told them to name him this. We're like, alright, so, first name Arthur, alright, that's a very typical name, nothing suspicious there. But let's get into the territory of fan reactions. Let's have his last name be Fleck. A last name which is very wild, very out there, something that you really never hear. And combine that with the first letter of his first name to make Affleck, and this is a Batman-related character. This could get people talking. What is their reaction to this? Do people want Ben Affleck to stay as Batman? Does Ben want to stay as Batman? That's all stuff that is probably happening behind the scenes. Like I said in the beginning of the video, remember, nothing official has been announced yet about whether or not Ben Affleck has left the role or is staying on as the role. The closest that we have gotten is Matt Reeves saying in an interview that Ben Affleck is still at least a part of the Batman movie in a way, whether just be giving Matt Reeves some ideas about what to do with Batman. Maybe Matt Reeves asking a question about, hey, do you think this makes sense for Batman's character? Because like I said, Ben Affleck is a huge Batman fan, right? So he knows what would be Batman and what wouldn't be Batman. So maybe Matt Reeves is just like, hey, Batman, better than anybody I know, does this make sense? Maybe that's all it is. But maybe it's not. I actually have another theory regarding the Batman movie that I think deserves its own video. So I'll put that out probably next week, so stay tuned for that. But honestly, guys, it might just be wishful thinking. It might just be being a crazy conspiracy theorist regarding superhero movies. I'm not one of those crazy people that thinks, I don't know, crop circles, craziness like that. But regarding superhero movies and stuff like that, I think it's always fun to look at the conspiracy theories, and I think this is one of those times that this could be something. And I think this could be pointing towards Ben Affleck staying on as Batman. I could be wrong about that. Totally could be wrong about that. Could be wishful thinking. But I think it is. And there isn't a coincidence like that. When people like us, when we see that automatically, that his name's Affleck. When we see that automatically within minutes, within maybe hours, I find it hard to believe that the heads of DC, the writers of the movie, didn't notice that throughout the months of writing and the edits and just looking at the script and knowing his name for that long, I feel like they would have caught it. So if they didn't change it, there must be a reason why. Maybe they just think, hey, it's a cool name. Maybe they think that. But I think there's some bigger meaning to it. And I think it's a hint to get people like me, hopefully like you, excited for the future of the DCEU because Ben Affleck is staying as Batman. Hopefully, I'm correct. Who knows? I doubt I'm correct, but hopefully I'm correct. Make sure to click here, guys, for my most recent video, and click here for my DC Comics Explained playlist. A bunch of videos there about Superman and the Snyder Cut and now Batman. Subscribe if you're new, guys, for daily videos and streams. Hit that bell icon so you never miss a video and a stream, and so you don't miss my video regarding the future plan of the DCEU. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time.